If you're going to come at him, he is going to go as far as he needs to go to stop. And he's probably going to step one more time.
Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. Relevant Rants. I'm here with my friend Mike Springstead.
Morning.
My friend Kyle Lawson. You've seen a lot of Kyle on all of our shows. Mike has been on a lot of our shows, and today he's coming on to rant. So we've got a special for you today. We're going to be ranting about a lot because a lot's happened this week. You know, it's so funny. We have major news and then major minor news. I mean, we're at that point now where they're starting. You know, you've got these big topics that happen, and then you have these other topics that are as important. But you know, so we're going to try to talk about as many as we can, and we're going to come with a unique perspective, I believe. But this week something happened, Kyle and Mike, that I think caught CNN by surprise because they thought they didn't realize they had a tiger by the tail. And wow, well, whoever thought that was a good idea to put that young lady in there with Trump. I mean, I've watched Mike Tyson fight when I was a young man. I used to get Ring magazine and saw him coming up, and he looked like all he wanted to do was get in there and fight. Mm-hmm. I think that's all Trump wanted to do that night. She
wasn't prepared,
and he saw the victim or the commentator or the supposedly journalist that got rocked in the first round and never recovered ever again. I mean, it's just, it's not so much as a Trump victory, but it's a CNN loss.
Yeah.
I mean, I
don't think she was equipped to handle Trump. They could have picked someone else, but he's a hard person to handle. Like,
I wouldn't want to be in there with him.
They know that who they're dealing with. I'm surprised that they're like, this will work.
He is at the top of the apex predator list, right?
Right. It's the fact that not only is he there, but it's the fact that let sleeping tigers lie. Right. You don't go after with a try to kill shot without knowing where to hit. Right. Because that's not going to work out well for you.
Oh my gosh, that Collins just. I mean, she was off base the whole time, and you could feel it for her. You know, I don't usually get compassionate for CNN hosts because what is it? The
you felt compassion that day.
The communist news network. I'll leave that on air because I'll stand by my quote.
And
as we go on further, you know, I'm going to jump down to 4 because Collins was asking him a lot about the election lies and downplaying January 6th. And, you know, I'm tired of that. So I'm ready for something new. But if she's going to ask him a question, he's going to answer it. Mm-hmm. He's going to give you his opinion.
Yep.
Well, and I think the big problem that lies with CNN, and I'll let you guys talk, is the fact that they don't let it go. Because it's that.
Dude, they are clinging to that like it is life.
Oh my gosh!
It is all that they have.
Go.
God forbid someone brings up a Biden story or Hunter or what. Like, no, none of that matters. Nothing matters beyond January 6th to the left.
You know, it's funny because we could keep you here all day, over 30 minutes, and we're not going to, by talking about Hunter Biden. We took Hunter off our list today because there's too many other good things to talk about.
Let's move on. Let's focus on what's coming next with this instead of the fact that we're going to keep going back to this history, this past, and let's see what's going to happen now.
Hey, I'm going to say this, Joe Biden, you raised a fine son. Not.
I was wondering, I'm like, where are you going?
No. Go back up, Alex. No, so there again, guys, what do you think about this? This debacle of an interview, which I think CNN wants it to go away.
I want to know what they're going to do to try and cover this up. Are they going?
Can't.
Well, I mean,
I know they're good at it.
They're going to have to do something to try and take this black eye. Where's the meat steak at, right, for that eye? Because there's going to have to be something that's going to fix that, right?
I agree with you, Mike and Kyle. You're in a heavily advertised industry. That's the best CNN ratings that they've had since Trump was in office. I mean, they keep firing their host because so how do you take the best show that you've had, the most watched show, and bury it?
They don't have a choice because it doesn't paint them in a good light, right? Like, I think that their best shot at moving forward is to just leave it in the past and like, okay,
Like
let's
having a turd in your house and inviting guests over and open the door, going, "Hey, step over that."
And that's the
Get past that.
It, you know, not to try and get off the topic, but it's kind of like the Bud Light thing. It's the fact that they now have that blemish, and how do we get past that blemish?
They said they're going to triple down on marketing. I'm like, that's not going to help. You should probably just chill for a little bit.
It's the fact that like
It's your type of marketing.
it's CNN is going to either have to wear this one loud and proud, or they're going to have to just try and find a larger focus of some sort.
I'm kind of surprised, and I don't know if surprised or impressed is the right word. Seriously, that they gave him an opportunity to talk because seriously,
They didn't shut him
it
down
makes
real
more
quick.
sense for the way that the media runs things to just smear. They should, did a private interview, only share what they want to share. Like I'm a little bit impressed that they gave him the opportunity.
Well, I think they thought they had him and they were going to set him up, but it was the biggest pro-Trump advertisement with CNN channel where people were watching. I think most of the leftists are crying. Our Daily Wire, it's a group we're really close to because my daughter's a talent director for Daily Wire. They have a cup there. I love it. It says "Leftist Tears." They have made millions on their. They're just the fact that the leftists cry a lot. And if you ever watched the tears that flowed the night that Hillary lost to Trump, I mean, they lost their minds. But I love Dan Bongino yesterday. I never heard Dan Bongino laugh so much as he did yesterday. He just kept laughing because of this interview. Because all the leftist people, it was funny. He goes, "I'm going to play you a relative example of something." And they had a guy on there, and they had to bleep out every word. I mean, honestly, I used to tell people, if you have to use profanity in your communication, then your vocabulary, it shows your education. If you got to keep going back to 4-letter adjectives, you haven't got a better way to communicate to, especially maybe a mixed audience, something. I mean, my dad, I was impressed with my dad. He was a truck driver all his life and never cussed.
Huh. Interesting.
So I thought that was interesting. So the election lies of downplaying January 6th, Trump talked about it.
Yep.
Talked about his beliefs, talked about what happened, but they keep saying, "Why can't we get past it?" Well, quit asking him those questions.
Yeah.
Same thing. You're going to ask us how do we get past this Hunter Biden or the
think Trump,
Biden administration?
And just to play the devil's advocate, like I always do, do you think?
Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, of course. So part of me, because obviously
I
they're.
love your hat too.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we're proud. Okay, question. So obviously it's clear that didn't go the direction they wanted. But do you think, because you didn't say it's not so much a win for Trump, but more a loss for CNN, do you think it could have been a win for Trump if he says something like this? You know what? It could have been handled a little differently.
I wish he would have.
It could have been, that's what I'm saying. Like if he owned up a little bit and said, "Look, I did try a little. I could have tried a lot harder. I could have beat it down immediately." Like if he would have owned up a little bit, he might have gained some real ground instead of just making them look bad. Yeah. And I kind of wish, like, for the hope that America stops hating America, that maybe that's the direction that one of our candidates will go, is uniting people, but with good, you know what I mean? Like, do you kind of have the same take as me?
Well, I do. And I'm not an election denier. I mean, I thought what they did was terrible. Did there some shenanigans go on? I think there was.
Sure.
But if you can't prove it, then you got to let it go. And you got to move. And then now, I wish Trump, and I know you're not listening to me, and this is advice I would give you if you called me, and I would probably hang up after I said this, but I would start saying the country has put a lot of things in place that are going to secure our elections more in the 2024 election than keep talking about what was wrong with 2020. I mean, I would leave that alone. I would let it lie and just say, so our country has learned a lot about how to conduct an election. Hey, Arizona, get your act together. I mean, that's,
right.
Arizona, you can't keep doing this to our country, but holding out.
The other thing about it is as much as there's it's obvious there's corruption in all of that. it goes much farther back than just the 2020 election.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the Bush election from Florida, the
Mm-hmm.
scandal that came out of that for 60-day recount or whatever it was. Like it's happened for years, and
It's the
not
biggest
to,
thing we do. Get it right.
and not to give, not to go, oh, the right and the left have both played that, but they have.
Yeah.
So
what would you do if you had for many years every real estate transaction had a problem?
Oh, I'd fix it.
You'd probably not be in business.
I'd
right?
probably be out of business. One and two, I'd fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
but that's the thing is, yeah, there's got to be a fix to it, right? Yeah. One, you cannot keep the same path without change. It doesn't work. It's ever evolving. New laws are struck and made because of changes, which there's going to be great content here in a minute because of this. The fact that you have to have change, you've got to safeguard every aspect.
You got to make sure when somebody's voting that they're legals that have the right to vote as a United States citizen, because that's all that should vote. And then you have to make sure that the dead people aren't voting, which has always been a laughing stock with our country, right?
Correct.
You got to make sure. So and I agree with you, Mike. I think it's happened on both sides.
And you're touching on a very real topic. How do we afford those rights to the citizens? Yeah. Not saying that if you are a natural citizen versus a sworn-in citizen, that you don't have the same rights as you do.
You do.
A sworn-in citizen and a naturalized citizen have the same rights they're afforded because you've taken the steps to make yourself a citizen. So why are we not safeguarding the nationalized and the citizenized? Those people. Why are we not?
Mike, I agree with you 100%. Somebody's got to talk to our governor because, California now can have law enforcement officers that aren't naturalized citizens. I do think.
So I apologize on this, but I'm gonna say I'm okay with that as long as there is a written agreement that by doing service in that form, you get a path to naturalized citizen or not naturalized.
Well, you help me on this one then. How do you swear to uphold the U.S. Constitution if you're not I've already have realized what the U.S. Constitution is about, because I do know military people serve,
100%.
But I also know, because I've had on my show Lunch Break, David Torres, who is a JAG Marine, and he put in place how they do get citizenship by doing the right things with honorable discharge from the military. They become citizens quicker.
So they do. What they do is they put a fast track in for those service members. Filipinos who are serving, Guamanians, Puerto Rican, or all of our outside holdings. They make Canadians. I serve with both Canadians, Filipinos, Guamanians. I've served with all of our flagged countries. Right?
You probably serve with people who lost limbs fighting for our country and they weren't citizens.
Correct.
Yeah.
But there's a fast track for that. If you serve, like I'm going to give you 8 years of my life,
and maybe my limbs,
right, or my life,
which is more than
right.
I
get a fast tracked citizenship to get to become a citizen. If I can serve for a country and give my life up to, then I should be able to get that. If I'm going to serve my state as a officer, because I believe that's what it's for, right? Is the state police officers? Not,
I think it's law enforcement.
Well, I don't think counties or cities will probably.
Not yet, but if it's coming down,
correct.
Where does it roll?
Right. But again, we're going to have the safeguards of the people that we elect, right, to maybe really think about how they're going to implement that.
Well, let's think about that, because I think Bakersfield is the only conservative
We are. We had this conversation many times this week. Was
and
the
they're
fact that
coming after us.
Yep.
So there again, if you're a GOP candidate out there, I think as we saw Trump, they tried to catch Trump on the abortion issue, and I think let's just be reasonable. We're daughter dads. You know, we are. Mike, you have a son. Mike Jr., amazing young man. But you're going to have to say that we're going to have to put this back in people's hands to say if there's rape, incest, or mother's life's in danger, you're going to have to give people a way to have an abortion. And I'm a pastor and I'm pro-life. And so don't come at me from sideways, because if you go back and listen to my stuff. But I'm just saying, have they really taken the rights away? They haven't. I guess they have a window now that needs to be reasonable for a young lady to say, I'm going to end this pregnancy. It's just reasonable. I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but if you're going to go out there and say, hey, period, no abortion, I think if you're a GOP candidate, you're probably going to not win the election.
I'm going to take a Kyle stance on this one. Sorry.
And what is that? The devil's advocate?
Devil advocate.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's me.
Kyle.
I do both.
Right. So here's the thing.
We all have daughters.
Do I believe that abortion is wrong? Yes. Do
So
I believe
it's wrong. Taking life's wrong.
Right. Do I believe that if my daughter is 3 weeks from delivery date and she is now in jeopardy of losing her life versus a child, the unborn child's life, I would be hard pressed to say the child should live versus my daughter. I would be hard pressed to make that decision. If it was young in term, that's not going to be a question that I could answer for my daughter.
Well, as you look at this, because as a pastor, I've been in all the circumstances, and the circumstances I've been at, the mother will say the child's life, do what you have to do to save
Correct.
the child. I have not seen a mother take another stance in that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. You know, that's
And
my
you know,
experience.
it's tough because, you know, I get I get both sides of it.
You
And
get
I
the
really
reasoning.
do not know where I stand, because if you really go to the root of it, does anything justify taking the life of an unborn child? No. Does rape justify it? It doesn't. Why, when in the history of time has one crime ever led to allowing another?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It never has, and it never will. Hopefully it never will, or else this world's going to get even worse than it is. But, okay, I'm not saying, though, that that's my decision to make. I'm not
agree.
saying I even have a confident, but what I'm saying is, say a rape happens, that automatically gives you the right to now remove another life?
It does.
That crime had already happened. Now, I'm not saying that I'm just saying I get that perspective as much as I get the perspective, I don't want to conceive a child that was out of rape. I don't want to give birth to a child that was conceived out of rape. I get that too. I get both, and that is so
Well, that's
tricky.
so I started this conversation, and I did a cannonball in our swimming pool. That if you're a GOP candidate out there and saying, boom, no, I think you're gonna, you know, I mean, and I'm not saying one evil or denying what you're saying. I think we have to be reasonable.
So this
and
is where I think
that's
we're
where
going
they
with
want.
that, though.
That's where they wanted to catch.
They want to hardline
Trump.
they want to hardline every stance, and you can't.
They want to alienate. Don't you guys love the?
It's the boiling frogs situation.
Yes.
So they raise gas prices to $1 million, right? $6,
Realistic,
right?
$6.
they go from $3.50, $4. Gas goes up to $6.50, but then it comes down to $5. You're like, oh, it came down.
Yeah.
But it's still more than it was.
Yes.
That's how a party gains ground. They go so far, they demonize a topic, and they say, if you don't at least meet us a little bit in this direction, then you're the bad guy. And that's how a party gains ground.
Well, you know,
if we go, oh, it's okay in this situation, well, you can't go back from that now.
Right.
It only goes farther that way.
You know what's so interesting? Because we all heard the red ants and the black ants scenario where you put them in a jar together, they're fine till someone shakes up the jar. Yeah, and I'm going to ask Alec Howe, which is our producer director on this show, to maybe find this video that Joe Rogan played. Have you seen the one where the two cats are on the separate roofs, and there's a bird that's agitating both of them?
No.
Well, it's great. We'll find it and we'll put it in the links because Joe Rogan played it, and it's so good. Because there's a cat on this roof. There's a separation, another cat. So this bird is pecking at this cat, and agitating it. So he flies over to this rooftop, pecks at it, and agitates it. And so he keeps doing it until the cats look at each other, and they're agitated, and it's almost like that. You looking at me?
Right.
And so this cat jumps on this roof, fights, and the bird jumps over there and keeps agitating him. They flip off and roll on the ground. The bird flies on the ground and keeps pecking at him. So the bird just agitated the cats. The cats were fine. They're on separate roofs, minding their business. The bird gets them agitated. They get in a fight, and the bird keeps it going. So it's just a funny video that just depicts, I think, sometimes what happens.
A topic versus left and right.
Yeah.
It's a topic dropped, and
then you start fighting each other.
Correct.
So I think it was a big night for Trump, which spells trouble for the GOP rivals. I think we all realize that DeSantis is probably the next guy in the hopper, but this gave Trump. I was not in favor of Trump in 2020, but I voted for him. I'll say that. I wanted him to change his ways. I think he was too much of a bully. I think he was too aggressive. But this one, I don't know if he toned it down because he had a centralized enemy that he was, felt like he was, sparring with on stage because CNN set it up that way. But it did give him a huge jump up on DeSantis, I think.
Yeah.
So,
I'm all about in business and in life. And Trump, you would think, is good at this because he's a resilient businessman. But like, you make adjustments. You see something, you make adjustments. Like if you see the way that you're handling something doesn't work, step back, go, oh, I should probably appeal to more people by being less aggressive. I should probably stop calling everybody a nasty woman. It's funny,
take
but
his phone away at night. Yeah,
his side commentary goes, by the way, Truth Social is way better than Twitter. It's like, just get to the point. Come on. Like, you have a lot of great points. Just cut out the fluff and it will be good.
Or the targeting. Because he called her a nasty woman.
And then I watched another one and he goes, and you're not my taste either. I wouldn't never date a girl like you either. I'm like, okay, do you have to just go for the jugular?
Yeah, right. Well,
that's why he's an apex predator.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the fact that he's going in. If you're going to come at him, he is going to go as far as he needs to go to stop. And he's probably going to step one more time.
Oh, no, he will go farther on the other side.
It's just interesting as we go on. I think we should leave this behind because we got a great thing happening in our country. It's called immigration. Title 42 coming off the table. But I don't think Title 42 has mattered a hill of beans. Can I use that terminology?
A hill of beans?
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Oh,
I think what you're saying is correct. So go ahead.
But I'm just saying, we've had an immigration problem ever since Biden's been in office. But we had an immigration problem when Trump got in. But Trump slowed it down. Just talk to the border agents.
Right.
They're saying this administration is terrible. We got people that they don't even know where they're at.
Right.
Because they call them getaways.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're letaways or getaways. But nowadays, I'm a conspiracy theorist now because all the conspiracy theorists, UFOs. I mean, the jab, I call it that now. I mean, all that were conspiracy theories proven to be true. Immigration we're seeing a problem. They're letting criminals in. They're letting people in. They're doing this with people that have the right to come in. They're taking advantage of our borders. And guess what? We got a fentanyl problem. We all know somebody who has died of fentanyl. We know people, and it's just terrible because
not just that, but our youth.
Yeah.
Our youth there is a local story, 200 pills in a junior high's backpack at one of our local junior highs here. How does it
really?
Yes, this was a few months ago, but how does that happen?
And it's killing people.
By touch.
Yes. Going back to immigration, there was a story that happened a few weeks ago about a immigrant who was deported 5 times, who killed a family next door to him who just asked him to not fire his gun while their baby was sleeping. Oh, yeah. And then there was a huge manhunt that finally found this knucklehead and caught him. And so as we're looking at this stuff, we know that this guy is an immigrant and got kicked out and came back in 5 times. And come on, can I go down this rat hole? Tell me somebody didn't know he was back in the country.
Well, not just that, but how is it the fact that he isn't incarcerated at the second time.
Well, here
Or
we
the
are
third
talking about
time,
it, and
where is our control of the person who is breaking the law multiple times? Wait, in California you can't do that because we don't have enough holding cells for these people to be held any longer. We're letting everybody free.
bull hockey.
A five-time offender of crossing our nation's border.
Knowing he is. And is he connected someplace else? So if you're out there and you're thinking this is okay, maybe you haven't dealt with the problem that this has caused. And when it really affects you, then you're probably going to think different about this. Because we all live in California. I mean, I think it's a revolving door here in California because our governor loves to have it. Because IRS, we did on our show last week, said that we're losing the high-income earners from California because they're moving out. But guess what? Low-income movers are coming in because it's through immigration, and then they get paid for being in our country.
And sanctuary cities.
And speaking to the fentanyl, it's like, okay, and I'm just saying, where's the equal opinion? And okay, there's a gun crime, or right, there's like a school shooting or something. Everyone wants to blame the guns, right? Yeah. Okay, well, when there's overdoses and death, why is no one banding together and
stop immigration?
The fentanyl?
Yeah,
banning the immigration, banning the why? How is this getting over here? But and that's killing people in the mass.
War on drugs
and don't
is no
be
longer
okay
a
with
war.
the
That's what I'm
getaway.
saying. Like it's like, oh, that's okay. That life didn't matter because it's not as politicized.
So aren't some of the getaways trying to get away because they're doing bad things? They don't want to be checked at the border. Because the ones that are coming in, doing it the right way, are saying, "Hey, check my bag.
100%.
I'm coming in." But the getaways are the problem, and no one sees that. And there again, we get it. If it's not your narrative, you're not going to put it on. The godfather of AI leaves his position at Google over worries about technology. Does that not scare you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Here's a guy that
He doesn't want to be responsible for the movie Robo whatever's coming to real life.
Well, I think we've all watched Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Terminators,
in
yeah,
Terminator,
right?
Skynet.
Oh.
Yeah. So we'll just leave that out there if you're okay with this. So we got the man accused of killing Jordan Neely in New York City. He releases a statement. You know what I'm still tired of? Can I say this? I'm still tired of it. We have a picture, and I'm going to ask Alec to put it back up. They cropped the picture that just shows the white dude in the chokehold of the black, menacing homeless guy. They don't show that there's a back. If you zoom out on that picture, you'll see a black man holding that guy's hands down.
Right.
They don't show that narrative. They just show the one. So the guy turned himself in, right, Mike?
Yep. He's a former Marine, and I say former Marine because you're never an ex-Marine. You can be an ex-soldier, but not. Anyways, sorry, we're not going to go on that tangent.
But we should.
He's a former Marine who stopped what he believed was a crime. Like
well, the people on the train say this guy is menacing. He punched a 60-year-old woman
right
in the face a while back. Why wasn't he in jail for that?
How?
If I punch a 60-year-old, I'm sorry.
Frailty happens in age. If a middle-aged man was to punch a 60-year-old woman, he's doing damage. If a person who has the ability to stop an action like that happening and does it, I mean, is he not saying he's a hero? Let's not go that route. No, what I'm saying is he stopped potentially other issues. Let's go to the Good Samaritan law, right? If you if you come up and you see somebody in danger and you give them CPR, you do a Heimlich maneuver, you give them out the mouth, and you happen to break a sternum, or you happen to break a rib, or you happen to do damage to them physically, you're not liable because you were just trying to do the best thing that you could do.
Right.
This man is now going to the point of turning himself in because he feels that he did right. He is going to face the charges of whatever comes that way.
In a liberal city where he is being fed to the lions.
And you know what? This is the thing that a lot of people don't understand about soldiers. We do things, and I say soldiers, service members, police officers, first responders. We do the task that's before us because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to do these things selflessly and without remorse because of whatever reason you were there. You're supposed to do these things because that's the right thing to do. So you're going to take the consequences, like like a man or woman or whatever else you may call yourself, you're going to take those consequences to the face because you're going to stand by your actions.
You know, Mike, and this is what I hate because we he's in a liberal city, so he's gonna face their type of justice, which I think is not working. You know, I mean, we have a Denver City council member who wants to tax white-owned business and give it to black, brown-owned businesses. Kyle, you're a businessman. Is that fair?
Can I just stop getting taxed? That's all. Can we just make
California?
Could we incentivize businesses and stop,
California,
demonizing them basically.
You've okayed to pay reparations. And if guys, I'm just going to ask this question: did California have slavery?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't think they were a big part of that whole.
I do believe. I do believe that we took California from the Mexicans.
Correct.
You know, I do believe that's pretty much out there. So we'll go to the next one. You can hate me on that one, but I love you.
We're quite a bit over.
Alex. Nordstrom's basically Nordstrom is having to shut both San Francisco downtown stores, citing worsening conditions. Newsom, you're facing the worst crisis, and you found this out when you tried to politic to be president, when you tried to sell your California story to some other states, because California, Newsom's not working. Just going to tell you that. I mean, we're having a bigger problem now than we've ever had. Just check out your resources. So 4 teenagers charged with the murder and the killing of a Chicago police officer who was on her way home from work. So we have a black police officer, a woman, who was killed by 4 teenagers, and they've been charged with fatally shooting her. There's a video out that shows them shooting her in her uniform, and then one of them comes back and picks up her gun. And what makes this thing even better is our next slide. Talks about the new elect mayor of Chicago saying that we shouldn't demonize the children because it's wrong. I mean, it's like hold them accountable. We thought they thought they got rid of Lori Lightfoot, and they got a better mayor. What the hey?
But not just that, but the fact that you're saying don't demonize children. However, when I was a teenager, let's say 20 years ago, if I was to commit a heinous crime and I could be charged as an adult, why is it now that children are softened enough to where they're no longer an adult in eyes because they're children still?
Oh, no, children are still considered adults right now when they're allowed to choose their identity. Their genders. It's okay then, but no, when it comes to crime, no, they're just kids. They don't know better.
But don't demonize the kids, right?
I think 5 or 7, something like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, make up your mind. Are children or are they not?
Yeah.
If they're children, you're right. They shouldn't drink. They shouldn't smoke. They shouldn't be able to go to war. They should not be able to change their gender. They should, but it's like, oh no, well, choose this one. They could be kids on this one. They're not allowed to be kids.
We just ramped up the RPMs on you.
It's just,
I saw you.
It's just so contradicting.
So we're going to go on. Tucker's on Twitter. I think that's fantastic. It's going to give him a huge audience. And we'll go down to the next one. Most Americans support anti-trans policies favored by GOP, a poll shows. So that means everybody on every side of the aisle favors that. And why do we give in to the 0.0 something percentage? Because Hollywood puts it in our face and makes us think that's a popular subject, and it's not.
Has anybody quit a show, a televised show that they watch, because of how much of this type of content is being written into shows? Has any? Yeah, right. Yeah.
It says most Americans believe gender is decided at birth and biological men shouldn't compete in women's sports.
Amen. I didn't know this is stuff people didn't know.
Right?
They just confused
it
like
Matt
this.
Walsh has a great downloadable with DW Daily Wire's streaming services. What is a woman? And apparently America is the only one that can't figure that problem out. And we have a Supreme Court justice that can't figure it out either. I mean, that bothers me. But we have an African tribal leader who has it straight and tried to tell Matt Walsh what the difference was. When he went to other women in America, they couldn't tell him. But a tribal leader in Africa had it figured out. So we also, the Senate hears problems with electric trucks and cars. They don't work. The batteries, they're mining in these third world countries, and it's causing a problem from there. I mean, we all watch Blood Diamond, right? Now
Right.
it's the other substances that
cobalt.
make
The
that
cobalt, the
makes up
lithium,
these batteries.
Can I touch on the cars? Right.
Mike? Yes, you can.
They were stating that the amount of grid power that we would need to charge these
Doesn't exist.
It won't exist. However, we have a leading individual in the country who, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Smart man.
everywhere. It's
Musk.
everywhere right now,
Doing a good job.
all over the place. That says all we need is 100 square miles by 100 square miles of solar panels to fulfill a grid system for the U.S. to be solar energized. That's all it needs is like a part of Nevada or a part of Utah or a part of the desert in California. 100 square miles by 100 square miles. And the battery size that would be needed just as a backup is 1 mile by 1 mile. That's all the battery system would need. And the entire country would be off of solar. Yet, we don't have a grid system in California, let alone this year for the summer that's going to come up to power enough ACs in houses, but we can charge all the electric vehicles that we're mandated to have by 2035 or whatever year it was. I don't understand how they're going to try and force so much of this electrical release on us to solar or to...
Isn't it great because we didn't have enough places to store the water that we got this year?
No, we have enough snowpack right now to fill Lake Isabella 3 times.
I'm like, is it funny they were more preparing for the drought? You know what? I'm an optimist. I think we're all optimists sitting in here because I do believe, as we're believers, 511 Media Group's faith, family, and freedom. We find freedom in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
If you find freedom in other things, hey, that's right on. But that's what we're about. So you might turn me off right now. Doesn't matter. We're all here by our free will. But as we're out there, they want to be pessimists and say let's prepare more for drought than we are for abundance. And we got blessed with rain, but hey, guess what? We were preparing more for drought, and we lost the water that just ran out in the ocean. But we won't desalinate like Israel does because they figured this out, and it's not a problem. The fish live.
The cleanest power in the world right now is nuclear power, but we won't touch that. And the advances and all that stuff. Plus, we have these beautiful minds like Elon Musk's that literally can come up with the pure fact that 100 square miles.
We got two great minds that's teaming up: Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson.
Right? Oh.
Twitter is going to be fun, Kyle. Kyle, last comment for you, and then close us out.
No, I touch agreement with a lot, and it's just interesting. There's just a lot to talk about, and not enough time to do it.
I know. So hey, we're ranting here today on Relevant Rants, 511 Media Production. Go out and check out our other shows. Lunch Break, which is about people's lives. I've had both you guys on that show, and you both have hosted that show. Muscle Matters, because we do believe muscles matter.
Yes, sir.
And Ministry Matters, which we haven't had a chance to drop, and then come up with more shows. So,
yes, sir.
Mike, thanks for joining us today
appreciate
on
you having
Relevant
me.
Rants. Hey, if you want to drop a comment in our comment section, if you agree with us, if you don't, we know we have trolls now. I think we made it. I think that's when you make it, right?
That's the sign of the times is that if we have trolls, you're good to you've made it in life. Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know that we're reaching you.
Yes, sir.
And so, hey, have a great day.
Thank you, guys.